you know, it's interesting, like artists that have gone on to acclaim such fame, they have the same insecurities and they have the same doubts as we all did when we were students here, or when they were beginning an idea or a concept of something creative. I mean,
you know, I thought I was an illustrator and then realized I was a painter. I thought I was a painter and then I realized I was a printmaker. I thought I was a printmaker and then I realized I was a sculptor. And then now I don't know what I am, you know, and I'm sort of happy that way, you know.
How you know you're an artist? That's the main question. And you know, to know if an artist or not is like a breathing. You don't question breathing. You have to breathe, otherwise you just die, so you breathe.
I wanted to explore all different types of things because for one, it's fun, you know, the experimental process of working with all different things and the problem solving that's there.
You know, when you decide to be an artist, you're taking on a kind of a life of where you have to be comfortable with ambiguity and you have to be okay with the kind of doubt that comes from a life in the arts, both because you're dealing with a career that contains some uncertainty in terms of where you're going to get your job and so on, but mainly also especially in the fine arts. If you're following a healthy creative practice, you will not always know what you're doing. If you're doing it right, you won't know what you're doing.
I think the great artists have to be ready to fail, which is not too many people do. Because when you have success in a certain way, and the public accept you in a certain way, you start somehow involuntarily reproducing the same images, the same type of work, and you're not risking. And the real artists, you know, always change their territories and they go to the land they've never been. And there is unknown territory, and then you can fail and you can risk. And that failure actually is what makes this extra, you know, ready to fail. That makes great artists.
You have to be kind of fierce in the maintenance of your practice, whether you're a biologist or a historian or an artist. So I'm always trying to make work.
You just need to do it. Even if the idea sucks, even if you're mad, don't want to work, you're sick, doesn't matter. Go make work, make marks, do whatever, but keep making, always.
Do it yourself. That's one big piece of advice, which is like, you know, when you get out of school, I think it's important to be really scrappy.
Make your own way in the world.
Wrap up warm.
Wrap up.
Eat properly, sensibly. Don't smoke.
And phone your mum.
Phone your mum.
But being like willing to start conversations and to reach out to the galleries or cultural, you know, programs that are in your area and to be a part of something.
Constantly looking and reading and talking and going to art studios and visiting with people that I feel would complement other people in our existing gallery program.
You know, and I think one of my main pieces of advice is to find a community.
That's a really important thing, to be aware of what's going on a community level. That's how you end up, you know, getting shows and working with people is being involved in the art community.
I couldn't do it alone, you know what I mean? Like, do it yourself, but not by yourself, you know what I mean? Like, do it, you know, find other people who are like, you know, willing to scrap along with you and talk to them and give them critiques and have conversations and have shows, you know?
Like, challenge your professors as much as you can. Like, they're just as passionate about art as much as you are. And, you know, really ask them as much questions. Like, I mean, when I was here, I asked Ted and Philia and Nick constantly, like, what is art forum? What are these artists doing? What are galleries? How does a gallery work? Like, how does a museum work? and they really motivated me to read as much as possible and see shows online if you don't have a chance to go to New York or go to a place where a city where there are a lot of galleries.
There are amazing things happening outside of the major metros, and I think that it's a great opportunity for younger artists, younger arts professionals to be a part of those changes.
My advice to younger artists would be something like to be very sensitive to where they are, in what times, in what part of the world, and how that constitutes the artistic practice, the artistic inquiry.
You gotta sort of listen to your gut and think about what's important or what you care about or what inspires you, or there has to be like a personal thing in there, at least for me, for it to matter.
If you decide that you want to just be an artist and make your work, then I advise you to do everything that you can to be able to allow yourself to have that capability and support yourself as you graduate. I have friends in New York that have other jobs in order for them to have the space and time to make their work as an artist, and I think that's the most important thing to do.